Hey guys, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk about the first 5 big decisions that we had to make when we first got engaged and started talking a lot about weddings that I think maybe are obvious, but at the same time are not so obvious. And I think that some of these things people wait until later on in the planning period to discuss. And maybe by doing it early on, it can save a little bit of stress and headache and stuff like that. So this is what worked for us, and a lot of them I feel really helped us a lot make right decisions, especially the big decisions at the very beginning, and has helped make the planning process a bit smoother now that we're kind of on the other side and coming towards the end of it. So I just thought I'd share with everyone. Before we get started, everyone go down and click that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of the videos that we upload to this channel. And yeah, we'll get started now. So the first main question was when. When did we want to get married? How long did we want to be engaged for? Justin and I, our story is maybe not the most traditional in the sense that we actually didn't date for a terribly long time before we got engaged. So we thought that having a longer engagement would have been best for us, and our families agreed with that as well. So we knew we wanted to have some time on our side as far as being engaged and developing our relationship, but also to make sure for the wedding itself that we were able to plan the wedding that we wanted, and there was no like rush or pressure to do that. With that being said, we also had 2 other things to take into consideration. The time of year that we wanted to get married, or the time of year that made the most sense for us to get married, played a big part in that. We live in Central Florida, so it's hot all the time, and yeah, there are spells where the weather is a bit different, but the heat and the rain are the 2 things that we really had to take into account before we even started looking at venues or anything like that. So the time of year was really important, not only for our wedding, but also for our anniversary. I don't know if people actually think about that. I certainly didn't until it was brought to my attention that your wedding day becomes your anniversary. And Justin and I are the type of couple where when it comes to holidays and birthdays and anything like that, we definitely would rather take a trip or have a long weekend away versus buying just actual gifts for each other. So we had to really think about what time of the year for us and our jobs and our families made sense to where we wouldn't be missing out on holidays or birthdays or other anniversaries in our family, and also to where every year it wasn't a struggle to try to get the time off of work in order to celebrate, our anniversary. So that was another thing that kind of played into us deciding when we wanted to get married. And the last thing, which I just kind of touched on, was with work. The industry that I work in, there are very distinct busy times and slower times. And so for me, that was something that I really had to take into consideration, knowing that I wanted to be able to have time off while planning the wedding. I knew there would be periods of time where I would need a day or 2 here and there just for planning purposes. I also knew that we wanted to leave on our honeymoon right away. We didn't want to postpone our honeymoon after the wedding. We wanted to leave the next day or a couple days after. And also we wanted to have some time off before the wedding to kind of get our lives in order and to spend time with family and friends that maybe would be coming to town the week of the wedding and stuff like that. So we just had to take that into consideration to see what time worked best for us. And so we decided on a summer wedding. Summer is the slowest time in my job, and maybe not the slowest time for Justin and his job, but definitely doable. And so yeah, we decided on a summer wedding. Like I said, in Florida, it's hot all year round, so it doesn't really matter when you choose to have it. It's really gonna be hot. But that kind of leads me to the second part, which is actually where did we want to get married? So, like I said, Justin and I both live in Central Florida, and my immediate family also lives in Central Florida. However, Justin's family does not live in Central Florida. They live out of state, and the majority of my extended family do not live in Central Florida. So when it came to us deciding where we wanted to get married, we pretty much knew that we knew two things. The core people, it kind of wouldn't matter where we got married. We knew we would be there, and that they would be there, and that would be our parents and our grandparents and our siblings, our close family and friends. We knew, because we know them and the kind of people that they are, obviously within reason, but wherever we decided to get married, we knew that they would be there. And the second thing that we knew is that regardless of where the wedding was, the majority of the people that we, at least at that time, were talking that we would invite, majority of them would have to travel anyways. Whether it's traveling from South Florida to Central Florida, or whether it's traveling from a nearby state to Florida, etc. We knew that travel would be involved for the kind of group, if you will, of people we were kind of talking about inviting. So we did not rule out destination weddings. In fact, I basically planned an entire destination wedding till I got to the point where it was just too much. We, from the get-go, wanted to get married in Savannah. That's where we were engaged. That is my favorite city in the entire United States thus far that I've ever been to. And so we started from the very top, and we made it almost 3/4 of the way through planning an entire wedding in Savannah. And it just started taking such a toll on me because Savannah's not that far, but it's also not like a day trip. And the fact that I was having to make decisions based on photos of places I've never seen, venues that was just like I had never walked into, and I was having to make these decisions, it really, really became so overwhelming that we just realized that maybe destination wasn't for us. We also talked about eloping. We never ruled out eloping for no other reason than the fact that, why not? Yes, we are both close with our families, and that was something that weighed on us. And honestly, it was probably the ultimate reason why we decided to not elope, was the fact that we are very close with our families, and we wanted our families and our close friends to be there to celebrate in this with us. But we also realized that this is about the two of us and our union and us creating our own family. So it's definitely something we talked a lot about and we looked into. But ultimately, we decided that the best for us would be to have a local wedding in Central Florida. So that's what we're doing. The third part, which has been the ongoing struggle for us, is the number of people. Now, this is the only place where I will mention budgets, because I don't think that a number figure should define your event and your wedding. I have been to the most incredible, elaborate, over-the-top weddings that I can only imagine what they've cost. And I've also been to a wedding that was literally 6 people, and I have to tell you, they were both equally incredible, equally beautiful, equally emotional and special in their own way. So I'm not one at all that thinks that the dollar amount or the fixed dollar amount is what should define this event for you and your soon-to-be spouse and your families. But the number of people is probably the #1 factor of a budget. So that would be my only thing that I would say about budgets. The day that we got engaged and we were chatting about weddings, we both kind of looked at each other and were like, oh my goodness, but like, what would you want? And what would you want? And what do you think? And it was really funny because we both agreed on the exact same thing almost instantly. We knew that we wanted a smaller, intimate wedding, close family and friends, possibly destination, possibly local. But for whatever reason, this number we had in our head was 65 people. That's what we wanted, was no more than 65 people invited, and that's where we were comfortable. Well, as time went on and conversations with our parents and our grandparents and our family started developing more and more, we realized that 65 wasn't realistic of a number for us, because we both have smaller immediate families, but I have a very large extended family, and you don't ever want anyone to feel left out, and you never want anyone to feel like they're not special enough or good enough to be included. And so that's been a struggle that I have personally dealt with a lot, because I strongly believe there's a difference between a relative and family, and sometimes a line has to be drawn, and that is just what it is. And so the number was hard. The number's been hard for us. We ended up at about 130 people invited, which is a hefty number, and I have a little bit of anxiety about that, but at the same time, what I'm realizing through this whole process is that not everyone that's invited is going to come for whatever reason. And at the end of the day, the people that come are there because they want to be there and because they truly love you and care about you and just want to celebrate such a special time with you. So the second I was able to really digest that, the whole number thing really doesn't bother me or Justin or any of us anymore. It's just, that's what our wedding number is, and that's what it's going to be. So we're really happy with that. And so as we were discussing a number of people and how many people we wanted to be there, the topic of a bridal party came up. And, you know, that was hard. It was, you know what, actually I shouldn't say that. It was really easy and it was really hard at the same time, because I've been in a few weddings, and to be a part of someone's day in that way is truly nothing more than an honor. It is so much fun to just kind of be there for the bride. I can only speak on the bride side, but to be there for the bride and to help her with anything that she needs and just to celebrate in this time with her, it truly is such an honor. So I knew that I wanted to have a bridal party. The struggle was, how big or how small of a bridal party do you have? And again, it kind of goes back to the people invited. You don't want anyone to feel excluded or that they're not special enough to you, or maybe they didn't mean enough to you, but you mean something different to them. Like, I just went back and forth about this all the time. So originally, we decided we were only going to have a maid of honor and a best man, and that was it. that was going to be our bridal party, one on each side. And frankly, for logistical reasons, that you have to have someone sign the marriage certificate, so that's what we were going to do. And that's what we decided. And I would say like 3 or 4 days went by and it just did not settle well with me, because I have 2 other women in my life who have been there for me thick and thin. They've got my back. They really, really have my back. And I just could not imagine going through this whole experience without them and not having them there. And so we said, absolutely, we're doing this. We're doing this. So I have 3 bridesmaids and I have a junior bridesmaid. Unfortunately, I did have a 4th bridesmaid, but she lives literally on the other side of the world and isn't going to be able to make it to the wedding. But she knows how much I love her, and she knows how much we care about her, and we will celebrate with her, and we know she'll be with us in spirit. So the bottom line is we ended up with 3 bridesmaids and 1 junior bridesmaid, 3 groomsmen and 1 junior groomsman, 2 flower girls, and a ring bearer, who are my nephew and my goddaughter and my cousin, and they are the cutest little things ever. And I can't wait to just see them. Like, oh, I can't wait. They're so cute. So yeah, that's our bridal party. We're so happy. We are so happy with our group of people. We are all family and we are all friends, literally. So it's wonderful. We're so excited to have these people a part of our special day with us. Alrighty, so the 4th thing we had to kind of narrow in on, and I'd say this was maybe more me than Justin, because one, I think guys actually don't care. They really don't care, and I think it's because they have no idea. Also, because I do this for a living, and we joke about it all the time, because sometimes he'll come to me with a strong opinion and I have to be like, dude, I do this for a living, so you have to kind of give me a little bit of credit on that. But choosing the style of your wedding and you know, how you want the day to go. If you want something very traditional and formal, or if you want something that's like very different and eclectic and maybe more casual, or if you're going for something that's really rustic, or if you want something glam, or, you know, there's so many ways that you can go. Again, Pinterest, it's like a dream come true and a nightmare all at the same time. And it can get so confusing so fast. So my number 1 advice on that would be, once you've decided what you've wanted, when you know what your colors are, when you know the vibe you're going with, the style of the wedding you've chosen, stop searching, because it just becomes so overwhelming and confusing. I would just say stop searching. Stick to what you've decided, know that it's going to be beautiful, and just stay focused on that. Don't keep looking and searching for other ideas. I am so guilty. I can guarantee you I have changed my mind 100 times throughout this whole process. And honestly, at the end of the day, I continue to go back to the very first style that we decided. So our wedding is going to be fairly traditional, especially the ceremony. We are having a full Catholic Mass ceremony. So the ceremony is definitely on the traditional side. Reception will be traditional in a way, although there are non-traditional things that we are doing, or maybe I should say traditions we're not following at the reception, but there will be a separate video about that, so keep your eye out for that video. But it's also going to be a little bit different. We are having a few little surprises for our guests throughout the reception, which I'm really excited about. And we're having an after party, which I'm really excited about, which really plays a huge, it's definitely a nod to Justin and him and what he loves, and in our relationship and something that we love to do as a couple. So I'm really, really excited about the after party too. So that's gonna be so exciting. But as far as style goes, it's definitely romantic garden vibes. Not a lot of color, mainly whites and creams. Lots of candles, some mixed metals in there. Nothing elaborate, nothing over the top. Sweet and romantic is probably the best way to describe it, and I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about it. It's weird, I have it so, like, I can picture it so clearly in my head, and slowly but surely I'm able to show those around me and explain things, and I can see the light bulb in their head go off when they're like, that's what you've been talking forever about, and I just could not understand it, but now I see it and I get it, and it's really, really exciting to have those moments, so that's really cool. So yeah, that's where we are style-wise. And the fifth and very, very last thing I would say we really had to narrow in and figure out was what everyone's expectations were. For myself and for Justin as the bride and groom, what was it that we wanted this day to be? What were we expecting this day to be for us and for our guests and for our families? Likewise, for our families, what was their expectation? My mom and dad, you know, they're the parents of the bride, and I'm sure they have their own views and their own vision of what they want the wedding for their daughter to be. Same as Justin's parents, I'm sure they had their own expectations about what they wanted their son's wedding to be like. So I think it's really important that that's just an open conversation from the very beginning. Who's contributing what, if anything at all? That way there's no surprises and it's very laid out, you know, A, B, and C is being handled by this, and X, Y, and Z is being handled by that, and those are very important conversations to have at the very beginning. And it doesn't necessarily just mean a dollar amount. It can mean anything as far as another event or a specific, you know, vendor or a specific item for the wedding. Maybe it's not the wedding at all. Maybe it's for your honeymoon, or maybe it's where you're gonna live after you're married. You know, there's so many other things that happen in life other than just the wedding day, and I think it's a really good time to kind of sit down with those that are involved in the situation and just be completely open and honest about what everyone's expectation is, and that way no one's feelings are hurt. Everyone knows where their place is and what they are expected to do and to contribute. And then from there, it's just a completely open floored conversation. So hopefully things will kind of go smooth on, you know, from then on. So yeah, that would be it. Those are my 5 big decisions that we had to make and discussions we had to have before we really delved into wedding planning. And I would say having answers to a lot of these things has been probably the saving grace throughout this entire, you know, 16-month process of planning an event and planning a wedding and planning a life, a new life together for Justin and I. So I hope this was helpful and informative to anyone. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will be sure to get back to you. And that's it. That's where we are. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. It's a long one, I'm really sorry, but I hope you got something out of it. And the next video is going to be venue hunting. So I have filmed some footage from when we went looking at venues that I'm putting together, and I'm going to show you our venue. I'm going to show you where we're getting married as well, since we already booked our venue. So keep an eye out for that video. That'll be up next Thursday. And that's it. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.